Welcome everyone. We're really excited to have you all join for our Indiaspora Holiday Culinary Show, and we have a special treat for all of our members today. And I actually wanted to introduce our board member, Arun Kumar, who's Chairman and CEO of KPMG India. He just was on one of our shows yesterday, talking about his new book of poetry, Mantram Beach. So hopefully you guys will get a chance to check that out on our YouTube channel. And without further ado, we want to give Arun the chance to introduce one Keralite to another.
Thank you, Mansu, for this introduction. For me, it's a great pleasure, really a pleasure and honor to introduce my friend Srijith Gopinathan, who has become over the last 15 years a celebrity chef in San Francisco, which itself is renowned for great cuisine. Srijith is truly a culinary artist. Let me tell you a bit about his background. He's from Parashala, which is at the southernmost tip of Kerala. For those who know your Kerala geography, it's right at the end, at the border between Kerala and Tamil Nadu. And he started getting interested in cooking at the young age of 6. I hope my grandson here starts doing something like that and grows up to be as talented as Srijith. From that very beautiful part of the world, which is Kerala, he has moved over the years to, I think, the second most beautiful part of the world, which is California. So in the Bay Areas, Srijith is so well recognized. Wonderful work. Along the way, he studied culinary science at the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, a reputed place for great chefs. He worked subsequently in the UK with very well-known chefs. Later, he was the Taj Maldives, and from the Maldives, he moved to San Francisco about 15 years ago. For those of you who have not been to the Campton Place restaurant, I would highly recommend it. I've been a long-term fan, and every time I hear of somebody, I now live in India, by the way, for those who may not know, every time somebody says, I'm going to San Francisco, I say, you have to go and dine at the Campton Place. On account of Srijith, it's become, for the last over 10 years, it's been a Michelin-starred restaurant. And in some years, it's had 2 Michelin stars, all due to the artistry of Srijith's cuisine. He also has opened a restaurant called Ettan in Palo Alto. And those of us from the South might call it Ettan, which means elder brother, but Srijith tells me it's actually Ettan from I think, Italian, I guess. And so, but the real question is going to be, have you eaten at Ettan? So make sure that all of you find a chance to eat at Ettan. Srijith's cuisine is truly interesting. If I were to describe it, I might call it like a Nouvelle California India cuisine, some kind of a nouvelle fusion of California and India, but in a very subtle way, but also in a bold way. So if he serves you a salad that comes in a little planter pot, pretty bold, experimenting, but there'll be fume and frost all around it. And when you taste it, you will taste hints of India. So what he does is the way he combines Indian cuisine and really continental cuisine is that you just see hints of India. It's not overpowering. It's subtle. You discover it as you go course by course. New tastes are being revealed to you. It is just truly an artistic experience. And whether you eat non-vegetarian or vegetarian. We had vegetarian guests from Travancore, actually, from India. And we took them to Campton Place. I tell you, it is the most wonderful vegetarian meal I have ever eaten before or since. So, make sure you find your way to San Francisco. Make sure you find your way to either the Campton Place or down in Palo Alto to Ettan. A meal there is a feast for the eyes, a feast for the palate, and also a feast, for the mind, because as you're discovering things as you're eating it. So truly a pleasure for me to introduce my good friend, Srijith. Now let me turn it over to another good friend, Priya. I think Priya and I, we do these every evening, Priya? I just remember another session with you.
Yeah, now I think we're like evening buddies, right? In terms of hosting things and chatting. Yeah.
So Priya, for those of you who don't know her, is just another amazing person. She's an astrophysicist. She's an author. She's a professor at Yale University. But apart from her professional qualifications, where she's probing the dark matter in the universe, uh, things that are far away and long ago, uh, she's very interested in the present. She's interested in art. She's interested in poetry. She's interested in cuisine. Just a multi-splendid person. So it's great. This evening will be a great treat to experience a conversation between two multi-splendid people. So over to you, Priya.
Thank you so much for that super kind introduction. Hey, Srijith, so lovely to meet you. And what a pleasure. I have not yet eaten at Ettan. And so you have to first, I want to welcome you this evening. And, I can't but stop myself. Well, what is the inspiration for the name?
Thank you for this amazing intro. I don't think I deserve that much. Thank you. So two things. One is Campton Place. The other one is Ettan. Campton Place is the Taj Hotel, which is a restaurant called Campton Place itself. It's at the Taj Campton Place Hotel. It's a 2-star Michelin in Cal Indian restaurant. And then Ettan is the one which I just recently, in 2020 February, we opened right like 20 days before COVID. So Campton Place is pretty much, what is it called, a fine dining Cal Indian restaurant. Ettan is a little more fun dining, casualish kind of a restaurant. Both have kind of my own influence. I come from south of India, obviously. So it's very hard to take, you can take the boy out of the gutter, but you can't take the gutter out of the boy. So I figure out the way to get South Indian into the food somehow. So that's Ettan, and I mean that's the difference between Ettan and Campton Place. It's basically, in simple words, it's more informal, formal. Fine dining is Campton, and very casual, fun places, Ettan. Those are the two differences. Okay. Influences for the question. So influences are basically, it's mostly from the travels I had and from the childhood experiences I had dining at home as well as on the streets. So that's pretty much it.
And the name itself, what is the origin? What is the etymology?
Ettan is basically breath of life, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's Sanskrit. It's from the Sanskrit word breath, life, breath, kind of thing.
Oh, nice. So nourishment for the soul. Huh? Is that what you're offering there?
Yes.
So, the question that I've been burning to ask, as you can imagine, right? So you have trained in the French culinary tradition, the Western European traditions, as well as sure. Indian, I know obviously you grew up with it. What is it that the French are really missing about our cuisine? How come they have managed to monopolize haute cuisine still?
1 second, give me 1 moment. I'm just having a little hard time hearing. Yeah, sorry, I'm so sorry. Can you ask me that question again?
Yeah, I was going to say that what is it that the French, since you've trained in both traditions, what is it that the French are really missing about Indian cooking? Like, how come haute cuisine is what, is so feted in the world? And why are our culinary traditions rich with spices and everything only now sort of slowly kind of gaining the kind of status with chefs like you? Why has it taken so long?
I think I think it was always there. I mean, the food was, I mean, both Indian food as well as French food was amazing and tasty. But I don't think we ever celebrated Indian food. Indians did not celebrate our food, and that's one thing I've always noticed. The greatest thing I see in French food is they make it. They're very passionate about any little thing they make. It doesn't matter how difficult or how hard or how tasty it is, but they take it really seriously, and they find it. They kind of they have no problem in disclosing the passion as well as the effort and went in out there explicitly. But Indians are not. I don't think I ever had my mom say, "I love you," those days. Now we say, "I know she loves me a lot," but it's something similar to that, you know.
You
We
think it's
never
sort of a
told it out
reticence?
there.
Yeah, it's a bit
know-
of reticence in general, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, we didn't say it out. We didn't celebrate. We didn't have a carnival. We didn't have, I mean, when I say carnival, not that carnival. I mean, say we didn't like super celebrate our food out there. We were, I don't know, maybe we were shy, or we considered food to be one of those fifth or eighth or 10th in the priority, even though we loved eating. So, I mean, all these things together probably contributed to that.
Hmm. But I was curious. I know it seems very childish to ask a chef of your stature, what is your favorite spice? You know, I come from Coimbatore, from around the same place, sort of Kerala, Tamil Nadu border. And I think, you know, these states are where a lot of the spice gardens are us. So I was curious, in terms of your cooking, is there a favorite spice that you?
Yeah, I think dry spices. I love cardamom, and if it's a herb, it's cilantro. I mean, and curry leaf. Like, it's very hard to choose. Actually, these are all like it's like everyday thing. You know, it's like it's very hard to say which one is better than the other. It's so difficult for me if I don't have either or. So it's a hard one.
Right. And so when did you actually decide that, you know, cooking was the passion that you actually wanted to follow professionally? Was there a particular turning point, or is this something you always figured was an interest that you were going to move into professionally?
Oh, I mean, I'll be honest. I love eating. So it all started there. so and then came into cooking. Cooking is always a big thing at home. I mean, we had a joint family, grandmother, uncle, aunt. I mean, it's a huge family, and you know, we always had a lot of cooking happening at home. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed eating it, of course. So that definitely created some kind of a passion inside me, which I did not know much about. But when I ended up in a hotel management school, it kind of polished it up a little bit. And then I decided, okay, this is what I want to do, kind of a thing. It wasn't the most celebrated thing then. TV was there, but it was not like one of those, you know, 24-hour cooking channels kind of a days. I mean, those were the days when you used to have one little cooking thing somewhere. So it wasn't the most celebrated profession then, but I thought it was, I enjoyed it. So I got into it.
Yeah.
Once I got into it, then I thought, okay, this is what I want to do.
And is there, you know, sadly, I have not eaten your food yet, and I really hope to fix this once the pandemic has allowed us to travel. So which is the dish that you have enjoyed? What are, you know, obviously it's hard to pick one up, but what is the one dish that you enjoy the most cooking?
I don't think I have one dish which I enjoy, but I love cooking seafood. I love, of course, I'm from a coastal little town, so obviously I love cooking seafood. I mean, things like coconut, curry leaf, tamarind, all these things that it naturally comes to me. So I love cooking with those, but it's very hard to point out a dish. I mean, there's so many. I can sit here and explain simple dosa and a chutney. I just can't live without it, you know. veal and rice. I mean, I'm a Mallu, so so all kind of things. So I'm very fortunate. I have this two cultures together because I'm from a district called Kanyakumari, wherein it used to be Kerala before and now it's Tamil Nadu. So I was very fortunate to get cuisines from, in one town you have two cuisines, like major two cuisines happening. So I was very fortunate that way.
What is the one technique that you may show us that we should all learn very quickly for ourselves?
Today?
Yeah.
Never thought about it. I think it'd be silly to say, but this cauliflower dish was meant to be I mean, I'm sure you all know it. You all cook at home, so meant to be supposed to be a fish, but it turned out to be a cauliflower because MR wanted a vegetarian menu today. so I mean, I love cooking vegetarian too. So I love this. What is it called? Adding cornstarch. I mean, spices, cornstarch, and rice flour into anything. I mean, I'm going to make this cauliflower. Just consider this cauliflower to be a steak or a fillet of fish, like similar to that, like a vegetarian steak kind of a thing. So when you marinate with this whole thing and then you sear it, you basically you get that crust what you typically get on a fish or any of those things. Achieving that crust, when it's silly and funny, but you enjoy it obviously. So that achieving that crust would be one of those things, one of those little tips or tricks.
That's fantastic. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Priyambada, if you don't mind, can I quickly ask something?
Sure.
Hi. So Gopinathan ji, good evening from Phoenix, Arizona. This is my daughter, 14 years old. She aims to be a Michelin star chef one day. She has written a book already on smoothies, however, but she has a huge passion for cooking. So what would you advise her in her career path? How do you become a Michelin star chef?
So I'll explain. I mean, I'll tell my experience. I didn't plan to become a Michelin star chef, honestly. I never had that plan. I did my hotel management. I just got into cooking and I started cooking. Moved to US. It all just happened. I don't think we should actually plan to be a Michelin star chef. If it comes on the way, just pick it up and be happy about it. But I think we should, if you want to be a chef or if you want to be cooking, one thing always keep in mind is make sure you're trying to do an honest job, like an honest cooking. You know, that's all you should plan on. Rest all falls in place as we go. I don't think you should plan on this. I consider all these things as frills, useful frills, I would say. These are all, I'm not going to say these are all not useful. Today, people are probably spending that 1 hour with me just because of those frills. But so obviously it's useful. But I don't think you should plan on all these things, accolades and all those things.
Yes.
I don't think you should plan on this.
Yeah, very nice.
So I'm going to be cooking something very simple. Thank you for talking to me. I'm going to do some very, very simple. Did I lose you guys? Okay. Very, very simple vegetarian food. Fun, healthy, super cool. Whatever vegetable we got, we just planned a little menu out of it. What I'm going to do today is going to be a simple cauliflower dish. Almost, I'm treating a cauliflower like a fillet of fish with some almost all the spices I use on this cauliflower is basically what you'd use for a masala fried fish, kind of similar to it. Back in south of India, and along with that, I'm doing instead of coconut rice, I'm doing a coconut quinoa. Also a stir fry. You want to call it a purial, it's fine, but almost like a purial, which is basically with snap peas, squash, some dry spices, quick stir fry. And I also have a surprise dessert if I have enough time. If not, we will pass it for now. Okay. Thank you so much.
Great.
I'm going to hand it over.
Sounds fantastic. And I have my glass of wine to watch and salivate. And
I'm going to just hand over this camera to my colleague here, Paula. Happening? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, good. That's good. That's good. Okay. Quickly, we're gonna start with this. Can you all hear me?
yes.
All right. I'm going to use a little cauliflower here, baby cauliflower. I'm going to cut this into a steak. If anybody is cooking with me, if I'm too fast, let me know. I will slow down. Normally, I just quickly try to get this over with, but I'll try and be slowly. Try and be very slow. So you see this here? This is a stalk of the cauliflower. So I'm going to cut right almost one third of it, and then create a steak, something like that, and then try and keep it almost like more than an inch thick. So I got this here. We can use this for some other purpose. I'm going to use this steak for today. Just a nice, cool little steak. And what I'm doing is, instead of seasoning it, since it's such a thick cauliflower, what I'm going to do is I'm going to brine it. Brine solution is salt and water. Instead of seasoning it, I'm just going to put inside a salt solution. I'm using a 10% brine. 10% is basically.
Louder. Voice. They want a little more volume.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm using a 10% brine salt solution. Basically, what it does is it gets the seasoning right inside the cauliflower, and it tastes well because seasoning is key. Without that, all of the fancy stuff is not going to work out. So seasoning is extremely important. So what I did is here, I just mixed 100 grams of salt with 1,000 grams of water, and I put some little spices like bay leaves, cilantro stems, black pepper, fennel seeds, etc. All I have to do is just mix it up. Don't do anything. Just mix it up. I already mixed it up.
And is the water lukewarm or warm or just normal water, tap water?
You could just keep regular normal tap water. If it's a little warm, it's perfectly fine because salt dissolves quickly. But it's perfectly fine to keep it just tap water. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put inside this. This is obviously not the best way to do it. You could have a little more narrow container. I'm going to just move it with something else in a minute, but don't worry. This is how I want it. So I want this cauliflower to be right inside the water.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, put everything in, leave it for like up to half an hour if you have time, but today don't worry about it. Just when we season it, we'll add a little. I just want to show you. It's not necessary to do it right now. You can just do regular seasoning also. But this would be an ideal way the seasoning get inside it really, really well, and it tastes super good. So I'm going to leave it inside this, leave it for like half an hour.
So just black pepper, fennel seeds, salt, cilantro, bay leaves.
That is right.
Yeah. No garlic or anything. No garlic.
Because garlic is coming inside the marinade later on, so don't worry about garlic. Okay, so while that's happening, let's do the marinade. Let's begin. Sorry, this is normally I do this whole thing at home. I have a little more what is it called? Decent looking vessels over there. Here I'm using the hotel hotel pans, like the pans from here itself. So it all looks a little commercial.
Asking for recording, can we recording? Asking, can we recording the?
Yeah, please do record. So I have the recipe. I've already given the recipe. Just follow it. If you're doing it later during later time, just watch what I'm doing. It's super simple. It's extremely simple. What I have here, I think I mixed up a few things, but I'll tell you the ingredients here. Curry leaves here, little torn up curry leaves, little cilantro, red chili powder. Just follow the recipe. Red chili powder, turmeric powder, asafoetida. I'm almost sure everybody knows what an asafoetida is. Put peringaya. Or get something like this.
Yes.
Okay. Little rice flour. I love this whole thing because I used to watch little fish getting griddled on the roadside on the street cooking, and it comes out of the hot plate. It just gives that beautiful little brown crusty little thing. That's what I like to see on cauliflower or fish or whatever it is. So that's what I'm trying to achieve here. Rice flour here, cornstarch, one part to one part. Just blindly follow the recipe. So those are the dry ingredients right here.
Is that cumin powder? Did we miss the cumin powder, or what was that? The brown powder?
Okay, this thing no. This thing has a mixture of cumin and coriander right here.
Okay.
Okay. I may have a couple of extra ingredients here and there, but don't worry about it. Just follow the recipe. It's perfectly fine. Now, I'm going to add a little ginger garlic paste into it. Maybe a teaspoon or so. Regular neutral oil. It can be a non-extra virgin olive oil. Obviously, I'm, you know where I come from, so I'm going to add a little bit of coconut oil here. Gives an extra little flavor. It might look like a lot. I think this marinade is good for like a couple of cauliflower, but your recipe is probably good enough for one. I'm also going to add a little water, because if you keep your batter consistency a little thinner, when it goes into the pan, it just gives you like that, forms that beautiful, nice crust. Okay, and lime juice. Lime seems to have not much juice, but yeah, that's good. If you have lime zest, do add it. It's perfectly fine. If you don't like lime zest, don't add it. If you're lying for one cauliflower, one lime, it's perfectly okay. It doesn't have a lot of juice. So since for fish, I don't add yogurt, but this is pretty much a fish recipe here. Since it's cauliflower, I want to add a little bit of yogurt into this. Maybe a tablespoon or more. Okay. Yeah. Now, I've added a little bit of salt in this. You probably don't see it here. I've added a little bit of salt in this tray, but you don't need a lot of salt. Remember, we are brining the cauliflower, so it's going to pick up a lot of sodium in it. Yeah. You don't need a lot. So, just going to mix this up. This emulsion of oil, water, little fat, extra fat from the yogurt, all these things, nicely rub it in. If you like, you don't want to make it too thick, because then it becomes a little gooey finish on the cauliflower later, because the flour is going to make it a little too gooey. But extra water is good. This is like nicely.
So the consistency is quite watery, as we can see, right?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not bhaji mava.
No, it's not a bhaji mava. I'm not trying to code it. If you do a bhaji mava, then like I said, it's going to be you'll get a gooey finish on the top, which is no fun. Okay. I can really smell the coconut oil. Yep. I'm not going to taste right now, but I kind of know. A little more water in it. But the good thing is the cauliflower is one of those vegetables which don't have a lot of water. So the extra water is, but if it's a what is it called? If it's a vegetable which leaves a lot of water while cooking, it's a different ballgame. We'll have to change the plan here. Cauliflower is a little more, what is it called? It doesn't have it doesn't need too much water while cooking. It's pretty dry vegetable. So that's good. I'm going to leave the cauliflower there. Let it stay in the what is it called brine for a little more time. Give it a minute. I'm not going to give full half an hour because I don't think we have that much time. So while we're doing this, while this is sitting here, do like 5 minutes. Let me explain the next dish. I mean, it's not even a dish; it's an accompaniment. We're going to make a. How many of you have made coconut rice at home? Almost everybody probably have made it.
Yeah.
The coconut rice is quite a simple preparation. Basically, it has some basic South Indian tadka, and you normally add some cooked rice, little coconut milk, grated coconut, etc. I've taken a similar idea, but I'm doing it with quinoa. Almost like 80% quinoa here, dark quinoa. I just cooked for like in like 3 times more water than for 1 cup of quinoa. I added like 1.5 pint of water, which is like 3 pints of water or 3.5 pints. It doesn't matter because you're going to cook it for like 10 to 15 minutes until the grain splits. You see that grain just breaking open. Just strain it down and just chill it for a minute. That's it. I like black quinoa. You could use white quinoa if you don't like black one. I'm adding a little corn because I love the taste of the corn and it goes well with quinoa. I'm also adding a little bit of rice, maybe like 3 to 4 tablespoons. If you don't like it, don't add it, because I don't get when I do coconut quinoa, I didn't get the taste of that coconut rice because you always have a reference point, right? You're trying to think, is it going to taste like coconut rice?
It's a memory. Right. It's
Sorry?
the memory, right? It's the memory that we all carry of what we've eaten.
Yeah, I don't get that feel, So I added a little bit of rice to make that connection. That's why you don't need to add the whole thing, but if you have a little, I would say like 25% rice or maybe 20% rice. A couple of tablespoons of corn, like I said. And then I have, you show the ingredients? Some grated coconut. This is fresh frozen, I don't know what they call it. It's a very deceiving name, fresh frozen. A little bit of lime. I have this 3 basic whole spices: black mustard, fennel seeds, and cumin seeds. Some curry leaves, little cilantro, salt, little coconut milk. And try and when you open a can, you get the top part, which is a creamy part of the coconut. That's what is better for this because you don't want to add too much water to the mixture. Little bit of acidified if you like. If not, perfectly fine. And a little oil. It's too much oil here. I'm going to probably use like a tablespoon or so. That's all it needs, actually. It's like, it's quite a simple preparation. Now I'm going to quickly go back to the cauliflower story here.
So this coconut flakes that you have, the desiccated coconut, did you defrost it, or is it from the freezer or the fridge, or is it fresh?
It's from the freezer. I pulled it out like a couple of hours ago.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have dry coconut, just soak it in water for like half an hour and then squeeze it out. Perfectly fine. All right. So I'm going to quickly take this cauliflower. I don't have, unfortunately, we don't have so much time for that. So I'm going to quickly take all these thing. If you give like good half an hour, 45 minutes is good because unlike unlike meats and other proteins, vegetables take a long time to get some salt inside it. So it needs more time. 30 to 45 minutes is okay. But if it's a fish, if somebody is trying to do fish similarly, for a nice 1 inch or 1.5 inch thick halibut or a good white fish, you don't need more than 15 minutes max. 15 minutes is max. In cauliflower, you need like at least half an hour to 45 minutes. So I got that here. I'm going to go back to the marinade right here. I think I need a glove, otherwise. No, we have them. Put the nicely going to rub in and just pour in these little what is it called, marinade into the crevices nicely. Give it a good shower. You know, nothing pungent about this. If somebody likes mustard, feel free to add a nice, this Bengali mustard you have. I don't know, what is it called? Kashundi.
Is it the yellow mustard seeds? The sort of.
No, actually, the Bengalis use this thing called kashundi, right? It's like a mustard paste with green mango and all those things. It's beautiful. That thing really works with this cauliflower so well. Super well it works. Now, remember, this is a very light marinade. It doesn't have like crazy spices and all those things. So when you put it in the pan hot, I'm turning on the pan there in full heat. I'm using this little, what's it called? Butane burners. It's not like super industrial or even not even as good as the home burners, but it's okay. It works. So this is what we get. Can you show this close up a little bit? It's basically treating a cauliflower like a fish. I'm going to add a little bit of salt in this. Normally I don't, because this cauliflower didn't spend good half an hour inside the brine solution. So obviously that's why I'm adding it. Good to go. Let's check the pan here. If it's hot. Yeah, it looks like, you see the oil is running quickly, which means it's really getting hot. So this is not a non-stick pan. Feel free to use a non-stick pan at home because it's easier to pull out and all those things. So I'm going to take the bigger side, like the flatter side, nice flat side. Just use your flame, extra oil, so this side on the pan. Put it down. Give a little extra marinade. Perfectly fine here. If you know, I'm going to keep this flame to medium. Like that, like a medium flame. I love this marinade here. I like the crust on it. So I'm going to add a little extra crust and some. Beautiful. If you like ghee, feel free to use ghee. And the same oil, just baste it back. It's a big piece of cauliflower. It's like a steak, you know. So Don't be too frugal on oil. A little extra oil inside. You don't want to eat all these things. You'll end up draining it off the pan later anyway.
I guess if anyone is actually following Srijith and wants to show us their cauliflower, that would be great to see where they are, which stage. Oh, that's gorgeous.
You see that finish on the cauliflower? Little, like a almost like a wafery you see on the top of it.
Right, beautifully glazed.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. So I like that finish on it. I think I'm getting almost nice and brown right there. Let's check it. I want that extra brown. Since you turn the side, you can increase the flame for a bit.
Wow, it looks gorgeous.
We're not adding any fat, but it's just using the fat to cook it back.
Is there a texture in the in-between that one aspires for? You don't need to poke it and see. Does it get softer in between the two bits?
Yeah, it does get softer. You'll feel it. So I'm going to give you a time on this. For example, after this good, what is it called? A good 12 minutes of cooking. I mean, six minutes each side on a medium to high flame, and then move inside the oven. If you have an oven, obviously everyone has it. Just cook it for like good 10 minutes. Good 10 minutes and 350 Fahrenheit or 180 centigrade. Okay. So. And that should give you, and when you feel it, you'll find out. So when you, if you have a cake tester, if you have a cake tester, if you test it inside it and poke it inside, and then feel it on your hand or your lips, it should be nice and hot. For a fish, you want it to be warm. For a cauliflower, you want it really hot. And when you feel it, you just feel, if you cook cauliflower before, if you feel it, you should not cook it that far. Your finger goes inside, then it is overcooked. It should have a little firmness. I'm going to add a little bit of fat to it because it's kind of dry. If you don't like, you could add some nice ghee too.
If fish is cooked, what will be the temperature?
Fish is cooked, what will be the temperature?
Instead of cauliflower, okay. Cooked fish, what will be the ideal temperature?
For the oven, oven temperature
pan, oven both
should be oven temperature. Should be same temperature. Like keep it 350. But if you have enough time and patience, I like to cook my fish very slow. But if you have the time, like you have time, then I will cook it at like 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Slowly cook for like almost 15 to 18 minutes. So again, it depends on how thick your fish is. You know. So I'm going to. This is quite a nice thick fish. Thick cauliflower. So I'm going to add. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a little trick here. I'm going to add a little water into the pan. Not a lot, just for it to kind of travel, because you're not going to be presenting or you're not going to be eating both sides at the same time. You want that nice crusty side up and bottom can cook a little bit. So I'm going to let it steam inside the oven. If you have a lid, no, I wouldn't put a lid on. I would just go straight inside the oven. Can you put in the oven, please? Okay. It's 350 or no?
It's 350.
350, go ahead.
350.
Go to the top rack. Put the $4. No, put it up. Put up. You put it on the bottom line, it will fall down. I don't want it to fall down. Yeah. Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you.
some question is ideal to blanch the cauliflower.
There's a question.
Okay.
About, is it
So you can blanch the cauliflower because you can blanch if you like, but the spices act a little differently. The spices kind of act a little slightly differently when it comes to cooked cauliflower. It's slightly different. I don't like the feel of it. It kind of, there's no way you can blanch a cauliflower without water getting absorbed. Once the water gets absorbed, it's almost like, what do I say?
the
It's like
texture
almost
changes? The texture
kind of
becomes
feel,
soft.
yeah, it's like tastelessness feel. I don't know what do I say for that. I don't like the taste of it. So that's why I don't like to blanch. And if you have an oven, you just give it a little extra time. If it's not cook it a little more. Or if you want to cook it on the pan for some time and then cook it inside, perfectly fine. Take a little extra time, but it's more tastier and more healthier. So actually, I forgot to add something into that. I actually forgot to add something in that. So sorry. So I have some shallots here, like kind of not so thinly cut. It's almost like 1/4 an inch thickness shallots, and some curry leaves, some cilantro stems. We're gonna take all these things and put on top of those cauliflower which went inside the oven, and let this cook along with the cauliflower. Okay. These things right here. Okay.
Nicely.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. So let's go back to quickly go back to cooking. How much time do we have, Mansi?
We have about 40 minutes still.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. So quickly, so I'm going to, you can use any pan, non-stick pan, works perfect. I'm using a little all-clad pan here. Use any not so fancy little, what is it called? What is it called? Ladle or scraper or whatever you want to use. So quickly, I'm going to show you how to make this coconut quinoa thing. Regular neutral oil, either non-extra virgin olive oil, or a grapeseed oil, or canola, corn oil, whatever you feel find healthy, whatever you like, or ghee. If you like ghee, great, wonderful. Do like a couple of tablespoons here. Can you get a little close up on this? So once it's hot, make sure it is nice and hot. I'm going to add some mustard and curry leaf, and little fennel and cumin right here. These two first, and these two guys. Okay. So make sure the oil is really hot. If you're not used to cooking mustard, most of you probably know the oil is not hot. It doesn't splutter. If it doesn't splutter, it's actually bitter. You want to let it splutter a little bit. Really in there. Fennel seeds, little cumin seeds. Burn. We'll add something. feel I went in with a little extra, what is it called? Cumin. I realized that I only have uh, one cup of quinoa here, so that's fine. Now, small pinch of asafoetida. Now, two things I did not add here is what is it called? I don't add is the shallot ginger garlic you can add, but I feel that it's too much of shallot and ginger garlic already into the cauliflower. You're eating it along with that. I want to take it off the heat and add a little bit of water.
So you're just tossing in the coconut?
Yes. And you have coconut milk. This is not necessarily I'm going to use the whole thing, but that's enough. One little tip I'll give, which I did not follow, is you don't have to add cumin. If you add cumin, kind of you lose the color a little bit. But I just added, I like it. Added it. Now you get a little more whiter. I like coconut rice to be a little more whiter. So, pinch of salt. I'm going to take a little bit off because you don't want to make it an halwa. Sometimes you have a little, you add extra. You have that, and that dries in. You add your quinoa in. Okay, that's good. Already almost been like 8 minutes on the cauliflower inside the oven, I feel.
So it's interesting, the coconut milk has gotten completely absorbed and reduced.
Yeah, that's the idea, because sometimes we do a mistake of adding a little too much. Then it becomes like almost like a coconut kanji.
Right.
You know, have a little bit more here. I like the taste of it. But since it is quinoa, you don't have to worry much about the color of the rice. If it's coconut rice, I want it to be a little more whiter. Here it is fine, it works. I'm going to just add it on. I don't want to waste that rice. Zest. Flame is on.
Okay. Is it?
What I like in this is a little lime zest. You want to get the flavor of lime. It's not from the juice. It's actually from the zest. The juice has no flavor. The juice has basically no flavor. It has the acid, but it does not have the aroma of the lime. The only way to get lime aroma is to add some zest of it. That applies to any citrus for that matter, tangerine or orange or grapefruit. You don't get a lot of flavor of that fruit from the juice. you get a lot more in the zest.
Would you serve quinoa warm?
Yes, it's like a coconut rice. You can serve it warm. Yes. I'm going to add a little what is it called? Cilantro to finish it. If you don't like cilantro, don't add.
So you didn't put any curry leaves in the garnish early, or do you?
I
add-
did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, we put it.
Mixed in.
Oh, is that what it is? I thought I did curry leaf right here. I added with the whole spices. Along with the
Okay.
whole spices, probably be to find the. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
That's good enough for me. I'm going to turn it off. So, okay, give it like 5 minutes. So, Quinoa is really hard to make it fluffy as a basmati rice. It's super hard to do it. I've tried it so many times. It wouldn't happen. It doesn't happen that way. But the reason why I add rice is to make it, bring it closer to that fluffiness.
Can we use parsley instead of cilantro?
Oh, absolutely. You don't have to use parsley or cilantro. You can just leave it there. It doesn't matter. That's not going to break or make the dish. Beautiful. Let's keep this aside. Now we have one other dish. Really quick, beautiful, vegetarian. I mean, I try and pick up things from what's available in season, even though the snappies is not in the season or the squash is not in the season, but I found some really good ones in the market here. So I thought I'd use that.
I guess California must be quite amazing for fresh produce.
Sorry, can you say that again?
I said California must be quite amazing for fresh produce, right? That you must be.
Absolutely. I'm so fortunate that way. Yes, totally. So this is almost like a stir fry kind of a situation here. Just that, like I said, I try and use what is available around me. So heating up the pan here. Okay. Good. So I have some nice snappies right here, like sugar snappies, you call it?
Yep.
Like split open. Some little baby tomatoes. You can use regular tomato if you don't have. Some heirloom squash, like not the regular zucchini, what you get in the supermarket. It's a good, really good squash. What you get, really kind of a heirloom squash, different colors. If you don't have color, don't worry. Some cilantro. I got like to begin with, I'm going to add a little bit of shallots, little ginger, and little sliced garlic, along with some curry leaves. In the recipe, I don't think I added shallots in it, but if you don't have to. I like shallot. I got some shallots there. That's why I'm adding it. Aside from that, little oil to begin with, and I'm going to add these my regular, what is it called? The spices I use for almost all the cooking: fennel, cumin, black mustard, and in this case, I'm adding a little urud dal, like gives a little nice crunchiness to the whole thing. And aside from the powdered spices, I have red chili powder and turmeric powder. I'm adding a little. I like green chilies. I don't have any green chilies, hence the recipe does not have anything. Add a little chili flakes. If I feel that I have to add, I will add. If I need more spices. Aside from that, and the recipe I've written almonds, like nice slivers of almonds. I don't have almonds. I'm using hazelnuts. You can use whatever you like. You like pine nuts, peanuts, whatever it is, and a little bit of grated coconut here. And finally, finishing with a little salt and a little lime juice or lime zest if you like. There you go. I've already heated up the oil here. Adding, you low on it? How much?
20.
So like I always said, when the oil is hot, add the mustard first. Let it sputter. Pinch of fennel. Bit of cumin. And all these foods are. Don't have any? Here you go. We're going to add the ginger and curry leaf together. The ginger takes a little more time to cook than any other.
So we have a question. What was the powdery thing that you just added? Was that the coconut or?
I didn't add anything powdery things yet. I just added urad dal.
Urad dal.
I
Okay.
also added ginger.
Okay.
Okay.
So everything is grainy so far that you've added. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the urad dal. And then adding this garlic right here. It cooks quite fast. I'm also going to add half of the shallot, and like half a shallot, maybe a tablespoon of shallot. Simple. Now at this point, I'm adding a little bit of salt. I don't want to let the urad dal to basically burn. Adding a little bit of water. You don't want the shallot to brown or something. You want the texture of the crunchy bite of shallot, but minus the what is it called? The raw flavor of shallot, but nice crunchy bite. Let it go dry, and I'm going to add a little bit of turmeric, maybe half a teaspoon of turmeric, little bit of red chili. These are optional. Turmeric is yes, but chili powder you don't have to. If you have green chilies, feel free to add. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. You don't need a green chili unless you really like it spicy. It's kind of forming a kind of a spice mix scenario here. Very simple. Let these raw flavor, just smell it close. You get that haldi, the turmeric raw flavor. It needs to go, or it's going to ruin the dish. So don't let it burn. If it's too dry, it's going to start burning. So
Srijith, in the garnish that you did in the beginning, I think the one thing that I noticed is that I don't nearly use as many fennel seeds. I use only mustard and cumin. So this is wonderful. It probably smells very nice too, right? With the fennel.
yeah, fennel has an what is it called? Very peculiar, snacky kind of a thing. It's almost fennel reminds me of, I don't know if you've heard of this ulli vadai.
Yes. Yes.
That's my guilty pleasure. I love that. So I get that thing from this thing. I love fennel. That's one of the reasons why I add in many things. It's like a snacky kind of a feel you get. I think again going back to reference points, that you find something, you have something in your mind you like, and you associate that ingredient to your thing. So
It's almost like doing time travel, right? With the food.
yeah, true. Adding a little bit of water because I just want that. I don't like that raw flavor of turmeric. Hence that little extra. Can you pull that cauliflower out? Yeah, thank you. Cauliflower has been there for almost 50 minutes, I think, around 350, depending on your size of it. Mine is like almost a little over an inch. Excuse me. So I'm going to add this hazelnut into it. Those couple of tablespoons, or maybe a tablespoon or more of coconut. That grated coconut goes in. If you find it too dry, add a little bit of water. The reason why I want this to be little moist, is because I don't like to boil vegetables much. I like to cook it in this. So if you look at it, none of these vegetables are boiled or cooked. It's raw. All these, I can eat all these vegetables raw. So I like it that way. I like the crunch in it. So I'm going to add, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add like half of this, almost like a cup of, almost like cup or a little less than a cup of zucchinis. It takes a minute more than snap peas to cook. I think that masala part is a little more than what I want. So I'm going to add the whole thing here. Almost a little over a cup of zucchini.
And this order is important, right? As you said, the zucchini takes a little longer to cook. So
yes. So it actually doesn't take too much time. If you do an open cooking, like it takes probably like 7-8 minutes without covering. If you cover it, then it becomes a little mushy, which I don't like again. At this point, I like to add a little more water. Now, feel free to avoid this complications. Feel free to blanch it and just quickly toss it. It works. It perfectly works. No issues. I think I'm a little finicky here. I'm going to add all the snappies, pretty much all the snappies here. Now for a little acid here, you need a little bit of acid. I'm not adding anything much. So this tomatoes will give some additional acid to the dish. So gives a little bit of a sourness. Right now, if you see it's sticking to the bottom, the coconut is sticking to the bottom.
It does look like a poriyal.
Yeah, adding a little bit of salt. And if you have ghee, add a little ghee. I'm in a mood for a little butter here. You don't have to.
we have a comment that it does look like a poriyal.
It is. So yeah. To me, that is good enough. I'm going to add a little bit of cilantro if you like. If not, ignore it. And a couple of splashes of lime juice. Salt. And fresh black pepper. At this point, if you love coconut oil, give a few drops of coconut oil, or if you like extra virgin olive oil, just do that. Almost gives you like a salady kind of feeling. I'm adding I'm a little fancy I feel like being a little fancy today, so extra virgin olive oil. Okay. There you go. So, let's try this. best part about this dish is I like more than any vegetables. I like those little this coconut and vegetable and those little burn particles and the brown particles, tomato. You know that little I'll show you that. That's the best part. I like the hazelnut and you know.
So Srijith, I'm curious, what does it smell most of when you smell this dish?
You do get coconut always dominates a little bit, but not that much. But definitely the vegetables come through really well, like the tomatoes and all those things. I'm getting the last hit of the tomato thing really well, and of course the mustard and urad dal. Urad dal, when it browns, it gives you a kind of a peculiar kind of thing. Just to give a little contrast, I'm going to add a little fresh coconut. It's more of a home cooking than a restaurant cooking right here.
Well, I think this is what we guys can replicate, okay, Srijith?
True.
It looks really yummy. And I was curious, one doesn't put too much black pepper, right? Because if you put a lot of tellicherry, that could kind of overtake everything else.
Yeah, very little, just a little bit. Just put this out. Okay. You're looking good here. Can I see the cauliflower? Hold on, stick to that.
Yummy.
Yeah, and I have to say, I'm instinctively starting to lean in on my screen, almost ready to taste, right? So it's like
One moment.
Mara, are you going to go over to the restaurant and eat now? You're muted.
It's only room service at the Taj Campton place right now. So,
Oh.
So we have to wait. Hey, Srijith, can I come pick up all these things?
Sorry.
I said,
So,
Srijith, can I pick up all these dishes? I'm close by.
me too. And the fresh pan, big one. So now I'm going to do, that's not over yet. I'm going to finish that dish. The cauliflower is cooked off on the pan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of oil to the pan. You need some kind of a sauce, right? Finish this. So I like to finish this with hot pan.
Yeah, there was a question if it's one steak for one head of cauliflower, or you can get more.
From one cauliflower, you can get only one steak, or
No. You can get 3, or if you want a really thick one, 2. And you know what the really cool thing about this thing is, if you go to farmers market and get really small cauliflower, you can actually cook the whole thing. Just cut that into half and just cook the whole thing, because that small size really helps. So I'm going to basically add make a little quick sauce for this. Little mustard. Salad. I don't want to add anything else. Little curry leaf and cilantro stems in it. Super simple. And some dry red chili. Teeny bit of tomato. Little salt to stop cooking.
Healthy, caramel.
Actually, I have it here.
Hey, Srijith, how thick is each steak?
Sorry, say it again, Mark.
How thick is each cauliflower steak?
How thick?
1 inch.
1 inch.
1
okay.
inch.
What was the pink powder that you put in? Was that chili powder?
Caramel.
Yeah, turmeric and little chili powder. Yeah.
No, that, I thought it was like a pink thing. Maybe.
Little one, maybe like a half teaspoon each. Super simple. I don't want to. So by the way, you can use any sauce. If you have a little kurma sauce or whatever it is you have, just use it. But in this case, I just want to make use of all the ingredients I have here. I have a little bit of a coconut milk here. Little bit, just like not even like a curry. It's like a sauce in the Western world. You do sauce, right? Something like that. So when you add coconut oil into a hot, like an industrial style pan like this, it kind of absorbs all the moisture off and the fat starts kind of splitting. That's why I'm adding water in. At home, you will not have the situation because here it is like, it's quite a big flame. So here, I also have a little pepper, what is it called? Fennel and pepper inside this. This is not just black pepper, fennel and black pepper.
Oh, nice.
You see that? I can smell the fennel here.
Mm.
Fresh fennel and black pepper. This is good for fish, some vegetables, and all those things. Adding a leftover cilantro into this. More tomatoes I have. I don't know how much tomato I have in my hand. Okay, I have it. At this point, a little bit of salt. A little more water. Keep in mind, I'm going to add the cauliflower into this. So it needs a little extra water. This is going to evaporate. It's not going to stay like that. At this point, see this cauliflower, I can feel it. It's soft enough, but not soft enough. Don't let the split. And whatever you spices you want to add.
What other vegetable can you adopt with this same recipe? Like mushroom?
Eggplant really well.
Portobello mushroom?
Yes. It should actually, yes.
Can you do eggplant?
Sorry?
Eggplant, can you do eggplant?
Yeah, that's what I said. Eggplant works very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here, you're not trying to eat a curry. Remember, I told you, you're trying to make this a steak. So I'm going to plate this quickly. Don't waste any vegetable. All the vegetables you made there. Pretty. Every little, I call it a mopping sauce. Nice and soft, at the same time not overly.
Wow, it looks so crusty. It's
Yummy.
really nice.
Oh. I can see why he's a 2-star Michelin guy.
I'm going to name this cauliflower a la MR. So you have that. Then you have, if you have, I don't have it right now. I would just, if I had enough time, I would actually make a nice, like a chili ghee, lime juice and ghee together. Just cook it up, like bring it up home and nicely brush it on the top of it. So it gives you a nice little gloss, beautifully. I'm going to add a little, where's my extra virgin olive oil? I'm going to add a little of extra virgin olive oil, if you can, nice raw olive oil. And little fresh tomatoes, make it look nice. And fresh herbs. So some fresh mint. Some glove is so difficult to use.
Is this dill? Are you using dill?
Yeah, fresh dill, yes. You can use fennel fronds also. If you have any fennel fronds, feel free to use. These are all like, it goes well with these things. I mean, especially if you're a vegetable lover, you want to have a vegetarian dish. I mean, why not? Use stuff what is available around you,
Oh, lovely. Looks gorgeous. Yeah, I think I want to give a shout out. Is anyone else cooking and trying this along with Srijith? Do you want to show us where you are with your creation? We'd love to see.
Yeah. Srijith is a tough act to follow.
That's true.
Oh, I'm not.
Chef Sri, that was incredible. So thank you.
Yeah, Srijith, amazing job. Thank you once again. And
Yes, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
thank you, Srijith. Bye-bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Very much.